Hi, and thanks for joining the SG Child Show today. I am so excited to have Jessie Dennerline with me. We are going to have an incredible conversation. And once we're done, you guys are going to walk away with the most amazing resource available for your entrepreneurial spirit children. And we have a lot of those in the neurodivergent community, just in the community in general. Just kids are, once they have the idea that their power can be unleashed in a right way, there's just no stopping them. So I just love this conversation today. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you kind of into this uh, scenario, if you will.
So I was a kid who was like setting up shop on my desk in second grade and trading pencils and erasers and just kind of like entrepreneurial spirit right from an early age. I just loved it. And then I grew up with my parents always saying, you can be whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. And if you see a problem, look for like a solution. If you don't find one, make one. So I maybe was a little overconfident, but I thought I can be an entrepreneur. I can start a business. And I started my first business when I was probably 20, maybe like 23. Um, I finished up college. I did an MBA and I was like, okay, I'm prepared. I'm ready. And I opened a coffee kiosk and I had a real estate license. So I was like selling coffee and running real estate. And um, I learned that it is harder than you realize. And I wasn't really prepared. I didn't really understand financials. Like, there were a lot of things that I struggled with. It was a great learning experience, but it was also very physically demanding. I was like working day and night. And then I I had a series of things happen in my personal life. My dad passed away, and I ended up working in addiction treatment. And I was the director of development, and through that position, I learned about marketing and advertising and all these like really important things to know about entrepreneurship. And I ended up launching. My daughter was born, and I was working full time with a baby like strapped to my body. And I just like she had a really traumatic birth and I could not leave her with other people. Like I just really struggled. And so I was working full time, baby strapped to my body, running to meetings, like changing diapers. And when she started to walk, um, I realized that I needed a space where she could play and I could work. And I started to research and look, and I couldn't find. So the concept existed, it was called a play cafe, but I couldn't find one in Utah, which was wild because, like, there's so many kids here,
Yeah.
but this concept really didn't exist. It's like, there's McDonald's play spaces, but that's not what I was looking for. So I found some partners and we built the Storybrooke Play Cafe, and it was magical. It was this beautiful, safe indoor play space for babies and toddlers. And I ran that for 5 years. And then we had our second child, and he in utero, he was diagnosed with XYY syndrome. So like we knew he was going to have an extra Y chromosome, but we didn't really know what that was going to mean. So I ended up selling the play cafe so that I could just be home with him and kind of assess what he was going to need.
Mhm.
And uh, that's when I found the Utah Parent Center and started working in. I mean, I use them for support myself. So that's like a disability resource center. And then started working there, just sort of helping them with a little bit of fundraising and development because I had that skill. And now here I am with the skill sets of entrepreneurship and working in the disability community and working with children, because at the Play Cafe we did lots of children's events. Like pretty much every week we were running story time and music class and just tons of different events, and it was so fun. And I really missed working directly with children. So that is kind of my background of how I got here. And the real catalyst for KidPitch was my daughter, Layla, who's now 12. So she was the baby I was talking about. She went to my body, who's now 12. And um, I was working on a website. Like I love creating. So one day I was just like creating a website for an imaginary business that I was thinking about starting. And she was like, I want a website. So I told her to pitch me an idea. And we went back and forth for a long time, kind of like Shark Tank style. And I realized through that process that she didn't know how businesses made money or like how to structure. So her idea was I want to give music lessons.
Mm,
But I was like, okay, well, how does it make money? What does the schedule look like? All of the questions and the whole process, like all of the thought that goes into creating and executing a business is a skill that, you know, she doesn't have yet. She's 12, but it made me start to wonder like, but when do we develop these
yeah,
skills? Like when we grow up and we're told we can do whatever we want, so we launch a business and then we don't know all the steps. Like and even if we do, like I learned a lot through the MBA program, but like you haven't practiced it.
yeah,
So I thought, well, why not create a program where kids can learn younger so that when we say, like, you can really grow up and be whatever you want, they actually have skill
yeah,
and have practiced so that it's not hypothetical because most businesses fail, like statistically. And a
yeah.
lot of that's probably because we're not really prepared. We haven't practiced.
Yeah. We see businesses running and we're like, I can do that.
Oh, looks easy.
What? Right? T-shirts with a dog? How could it be so hard?
Right.
No, and you don't realize all of the steps that it takes. This has nothing to do with this, but I don't know why I'm bringing it up. My husband does restoration, and he'll go into a home and the person will say, "Well, I can do this. I can do this part or whatever." And he is just like they don't
Well, I
understand
can YouTube
the
it.
12-step process it takes to get to that final part where he's at. And
Mhm.
and they all take, that for granted. And so I just it's so true in just like in that same creating a business, there's all of these behind the scenes steps and things like that that really need to be like practiced. And you can learn them like you said, and you can put them into action, but it doesn't always mean that they'll take off and be
Mhm.
like this number one, hit
Yeah.
seller and
Why not
everything.
practice your idea in a low stakes environment where it's safe to fail? I also think kids aren't really super resilient. A lot of kids right today, and they're not really comfortable with failure or the idea of failing. And I like that's what entrepreneurship is all about. So,
Yeah. No, I think that you and I are a lot alike, that we like to create and be curious and create things that don't exist when we need them.
mhm.
See that there's something that's not there. Well, okay, what do I need to do to make it happen then?
Build
Like,
it.
what is
Yeah.
the stake now? But it's so true. And it when it comes to being a mom and really teaching those skills, I mean, I just am so proud of you, honor you as a mom and doing, as a businesswoman that way too, to just really embrace the whole picture. Because so often our and everybody has their own situation obviously, but those who are able to really take their family situation and grow with it and make
Mhm,
their life around it basically, I love that. That's what I'm doing, and I think it looks a lot different to maybe my parents or to the neighbors that are different, but it's really what our family needed and what the accommodations that, like you said, you had to provide for your children for their needs that they had to be met. Like it's
mhm.
sometimes we can't just hand our kid over when they have something that is not understood widely by the popular, community. We really have to be mindful of those things. What kind of accommodations, when you were kind of just thinking about it, did you have in mind for yourself in creating?
So I thought it was really important to build KidPitch in a way that was accessible and open to all types of learners. So we did a pilot with kids at the Utah Parent Center. We invited children with disabilities and their siblings to come, and we had a lot of staff and a lot of volunteers, and we invited parents if a child needed, one-on-one help. And the way the program is set up, the workbook is just a guide. So we go through a workbook, and it's designed for children as young as like 8 or 9 years old. And I think also in designing for multiple ages, it also opened it up for multiple ranges and abilities. So the child can participate by either writing in all of their answers, and like we have those kids that are just like detail, every single detail of their business idea is written down. We had kids who just preferred discussion, either because of their age or their ability. It took longer to write, and so we would just start open discussion. And then we had kids who drew pictures, like, okay, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Can you draw it? And so I think having it be structured, but also really flexible in the way that they participate worked. I also had a little girl who she was on the autism spectrum. She came in, and I wasn't sure if she was verbal or nonverbal. She didn't r even pull open up her workbook really, like, she just was, observing everything that was happening, and then on the final day, she launched an incredible business. She opened up this bookstore. I have a she wanted to do a commercial, so I filmed a commercial of her talking about her
Mhm.
bookstore, and all she had all these horses around it, and they all worked there, and she pitched her idea. So she was taking in all of the information over the 3 days and coming up with her own idea, and it's just like, we cannot, make assumptions about what someone can and can't do.
Mm.
Are they learning? Are they not learning? Because we just really don't know, and until given the opportunity, and then people are just, brilliant. Like, kids are brilliant.
Yeah.
They have these incredibly creative, innovative ideas. Sometimes they're based in, uh, this world, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes kids will launch businesses that are magical, and the skill set is still there, though. They're
Yeah.
still practicing speaking. I mean, I took, like, 1 public speaking class in college, and that was probably it. Everything else has just been learned by doing and being thrust into, like, some kind of scary situation. But what if you had the opportunity, like, as a child to practice
Yeah.
public speaking and to practice, like, thinking through an entire idea step
Yeah.
by step, beginning to end? A lot of kids right now don't understand how businesses make money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It
or, like, they hate
it's
math, that's a normal
yeah.
feeling, like, "When am I gonna use this? I don't need this," and then they're trying to make change, or they're trying to invest in we use pretend money to practice, and they're like, "Oh, okay. I do need to, like, know some math. I do." And they're just learning it as they go, and I don't think it feels like learning to them so much, like, it's just fun. It feels like
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the best way to learn, isn't it? Is
play.
that imagination, play, and having guidelines and kind of structure within that is so wonderful. It gives them so much value
Yeah.
and so much empowerment to take with them, especially when people like their ideas, I'm sure, and they're like, wow, like someone's impressed by it, or and things like that. I think that there's a real uh dignified kind of human experience that can happen for them in that moment, where they can not be afraid of the how the world's gonna shut them down. They don't have that yet, that fear of that yet, and they can just really, express their ideas. And I love, though, that there's this practice of using the right kind of language, using the money, in a different kind of setting. My daughter did when she was little, she did Up with Kids,
Oh,
which
I love
is
that for kids,
yeah,
yeah.
I love Up with Kids, and
So many skills
the
there too.
experience that it gave her, and this was prior to her diagnosis, and now to know, like, when she did go into school and she was that girl, that observer, that quiet, shy, and, everyone's always, "Why are you this and why are you that?" It's like, she's this is how she learns, like, she
Yes.
doesn't have to learn like everyone else, and it's tricky for the
People
teacher, the parents, and everyone.
assume that they don't know things or
Yes.
that they aren't understanding
True.
or they're not participating, like, there's all these assumptions that are made that are just wrong, like,
Yeah. Couldn't
it's
you yeah, you couldn't be more right about that being wrong, right? So
yeah,
true. It is the case,
yes,
and it's when we as the adult in this situation, when we really have the capacity and the, compassion, the understanding, the want to know them, to let them know that they belong, to want to hear them
yes,
without thinking, "What are we gonna say next?" Like, just like I had to learn in podcasting. There was no amount of thinking I could ever be doing because I would not hear what anyone had to say.
mm,
Now I know that I can literally just be listening, and all of the thoughts I need to have next will come to me. I
yes,
don't need to have this written script or anything like that. It's all so, it moves through you, and especially when it's like this passionate idea and it comes from your heart and your mind and they all come together. I think that it's such a great skill for, and what age group are do we start with, and what age group do you have in there, and where does it go to? Let's chat about that.
so when I was building it, I worked with teachers, and I also worked with ABA therapists, so, structure-wise, you said, like, "Well, what kind of accommodations?" We have a visual schedule, we have visual timers, we have, different kind of seating, nobody has to sit at a desk, and really no one does, like, everyone is sitting on bean bags or floor or whatever, but we have kids usually between 8 and about 13 right now,
Mm,
we're looking at younger and older ages, but the curriculum was kind of developed, with the kids in mind that are going, through things like junior achievement at
yeah,
school, college and career, kind of like my daughter's school, they're learning about some careers, but not I think the curriculum is a little bit outdated
yeah,
for what a lot of kids want, they're
yeah.
interested in, like, "Well, how do I become a content
YouTuber.
creator?"
Yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly.
and so we will, walk them through what that looks like, I did a lot of research and, um, created a lot of programming around what about the kids that wanna be gamers?
Yeah.
Because that's what my son wants, like, he's 7, and he wants to be a professional video gamer, and so, um, the program is still hands-on, still workbook based, like, we're trying to take a break a little bit from tech in our
Mm,
home,
yeah,
uh, as much as we can, and I don't I don't think there's anything wrong with tech careers, like, I think we should prepare kids for what goes into becoming a YouTuber or a video game,
yeah,
professional, and what are all the options with that, but we're still gonna learn the skill set of entrepreneurship, which is, like, okay, well, let's come up with your video game channel idea,
Mhm.
and um, let's create your branding around it, and
Learn how to look up names that are available, things like that.
how do they make money?
Yeah.
Like, they just think money magically appears.
Yeah. Right? No, my kids too, completely.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that is
and
so
you may have to, like you need to know how to read and write. My daughter's starting to understand this even with sports, like, what if you need to sign a contract?
Mhm.
What if you do come into a lot of money? You need to and you maybe you hire someone to help you manage it. You probably still wanna understand how finances work so that someone doesn't take advantage of you. I mean,
Yeah.
that happens quite a bit in to athletes, so all of those skills are just things that I think kids do learn to some degree when they are older, we
Yeah.
think about that when we think about teenagers because we're thinking about, "What is my teenager gonna do?"
Yeah. When
And
is he gonna get a job?
I think people worry, like, well, should young kids be, thinking about entrepreneurship? And I think when you realize that how important the skill set is and how applicable it is to the world that we're coming into, like, AI is opening the door, I think, to, so many possibilities that why not prepare kids and give them space to practice all throughout their lives, like, not
Yeah.
just when they're teens because, teenagers, they're kind of in that same boat that we were in when we first started, where it's like, "All right, either go out and work for someone or start your own thing,"
Yeah.
without any practice, without really, like, maybe they've done a lemonade stand or, like,
Babysitting or yeah.
little odd jobs or
Yeah.
babysitting, but even if you're, like, a babysitter, why not run it as, like, a really
Babysitter
good
club, right? Yeah.
business? What would happen if you took, "Oh, yeah, I'll babysit for you," into, "Now I have a brand and a logo," and, I mean, I just think that's great practice
I
for
love
the future. Yeah,
I do too, I love that so much.
and it's super fun.
It really is, it's so much fun, and especially when you have a kiddo who's really, like, into it at all. I remember when I first started podcasting, I'll never get rid of the episodes of my kids, that when they wanted to do their own podcast, and,
Yep.
oh, it's just so much fun, and like I told you before, when my daughter said, "I wanna how do I publish a book? Like, you have these children's books, how do I publish my own book?"
Mhm.
And I said, join me in this journey, and we'll do it together, and we'll do it step by step and figure this out together." And it's, now she's 13. She probably doesn't want anyone to know about that. And she's in a
I mean,
totally different space, right?
the confidence they build though,
Yeah.
and, like, they feel empowered, I do surveys before and after all of my
I
camps with
love
both
that.
parents and kids, so I can really make sure that we're, providing everything that we can to just to help them learn and make sure they're having fun and so that we
Yeah.
can also improve, and 100% of the kids feel more confident when they're done.
Oh, I love that. I can imagine they've learned these skills that will provide them their whole life. They'll never lose these types of skills. You're right. It's like we go into the world as adults, and oh, here we are. Okay, now show up and find all these clients for yourself and figure out how to schedule, and what about a space you need to rent, or what about, and you're just like, wait, wait a second.
Mhm.
This was all just on a piece of paper that I was going to be able to just achieve these things. What do you
AI
mean?
told me I could do it, and it was a good idea. Like, why is it so hard? Oh, yeah, you didn't factor in psychology, like, people maybe don't want what you're selling or whatever it
Yes.
is, you know?
It's so true. And teaching kind of how to do, market research and just
Mhm,
study kind of the, I guess, field of whatever you want to be in, and those types of things. What a great way to get your kids ready for the world. And like you said, it can be so much fun, and learning, I think, happens easier when it's play and when it's
mhm,
um accessible for everyone to do, whether it's voice text or writing or taking a picture of it and then or explaining it like you said. And I think that kind of allowing kids in that space to use all of the senses they need and not be overwhelmed by expectations of, of other things is so helpful for their learning process as well.
Mhm.
um, and learning how to fail. I like that you brought that up because I'm been reminding I have 3 teenagers, and there's a lot of failing, and not of just everyday things, that come
Mhm.
and happen, and I'm always reminding them, "This is a perfect time for you to learn. This isn't a bad and negative thing. This is a positive learning experience.
Yep.
This is where you learn that you don't have to have the same outcome next time if you do it differently a different time.
Mhm.
So let's just remember that so we can, navigate through that." And I think it's good to remind them that like their mistakes are good for them, that they're not,
Mhm.
they don't need to beat themselves up and be emotionally just tangled into these mistakes and things. They need to really embrace them and say, maybe, kind of kind of did do some detective work and see what did go wrong. How can I improve or not do it, and do it differently another time?
Yeah,
And
because sometimes it's just an adjustment, a tweak,
yeah,
maybe you're marketing to the wrong audience, like, maybe it's timing, there's a lot of factors. Because sometimes it
that's
is a
true.
good idea. Yeah, it's like, how do we
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I love this so much, and I want to share all of the information with everyone. Um, Kids Pitch. That is what is the website?
It's KidPitchBiz, so
Okay,
KidPitchBiz.com.
perfect.
And there's, summer camps all through June and July. We are getting pretty full, but I added one more camp to the end of July. So,
Oh, that's so exciting.
yeah, we have
And
some.
I'll make sure to have all of the links, and I can even see if we can put, is that right?
Yep, looks
Okay,
good.
good. KidPitchBiz.com for those who are listening, and those who are viewing it, you can see on the screen. Go check that out. Copy and paste that over so you can go find that website and get all of the resources. What do you have on the website as far as like probably stories of other kids? Like, kind of share with us what that looks like.
Yeah, there are pictures and even some videos on our social media of some of the kids
Oh,
presenting, like, their ideas and, like I said, we had an ABA therapist, we had invited parents to come, and I don't think a single parent stayed, like, they came and they walked in and I think felt like, "Okay, my kid's safe, like, I'm gonna go." And the kids really wanted to be there independently,
oh, nice.
which was really cute, but yeah, I guess, if parents have questions about, like, is it a good fit? I feel like all kids are welcome, with my son, we run into some situations where especially with summer camp, where they were like, we're not really, we can't support his needs, we're not prepared, and I do appreciate having those conversations so
Yeah,
that we don't run into a situation where it's, like, crisis and, like, it's not the right fit, they're not prepared,
yeah,
for something, so I just try to get to know the kids before they come and kind of know, like, what to expect and,
that's
what
great.
makes them feel safe and what's going to help them succeed with it. We do also, like a sensory space in the room, so if somebody needs to take a break or, have some headphones or whatever.
And where are you guys located?
So we right now are renting space in different
Oh,
areas.
great.
Like I said, the one we did, for kids with disabilities was at the Utah Parent Center. Some of my camps right now are at the Bicentennial Park Pavilion
Wonderful.
or Pavilion in
Yeah.
Sandy, and then, we have a couple at other locations as well, like a dance studio and a church has offered us space. So
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
it's very mobile right now because we're just sort of figuring out, like, it's really fun to be able to have the marketplace, like, pop up in different areas, and we
Great.
invite the community to come. So that's another thing I'll mention is, like, if you have a child who maybe isn't ready to sit through a whole camp, they're 3 half days, so from 9:30 to 12:30 usually. Um, they can still come and participate in the marketplace because we always need shoppers, and,
Yeah.
that's actually how my son participates, and it's super fun. And then those kids get to practice with money and
Yes. Oh, I love that.
yeah.
Now, right now, it's just in person, obviously, because you have to have all the hands-on things like that.
Yes.
Have you thought about how you can make this, stream and scale online someday?
So when I first started, I actually developed all the curriculum to be virtual kits. Um, and I launched that. I launched the pilot, and the feedback I was getting, I think because of the age group, was it's so good, it's so fun, it's great. But my kid had a lot of questions and needed more support, and I didn't know how to help because I don't know entrepreneurship myself. That's what parents were saying to me, which is why I created the workbook. But
I
I
love that.
actually have really beautiful interactive uh, digital business kits. So
Oh,
if
great.
somebody, yeah, was not able to like physically come to camp or for whatever reason, but still wanted to explore this, I do have those. And
Great.
yeah, they're in
Love
beta. So I just give them to parents to use for free.
Oh, wonderful. KidPitchBiz.com. Everyone, please go and support this amazing, like I said, by the time we're at the end of this, you're going to have this amazing resource. And I know that there are so many parents and listeners that their kids are just right up the alley for this. So thank you so much for putting something like this together and really creating a passion out of your own needs, out of your own accommodating your own life. And I just think that that's just such an honorable and admirable thing to do.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on.
Oh, it's so good to get to know you, and I'm sure that we can get to meet in person since we're in the same area now, so that's exciting. Most people, I'm like, Connecticut or something, so it's
Yeah.
nice to talk to
And
somebody here.
your 13-year-old is welcome to come, and you're welcome to come check
Yes,
it out.
thank
Like
you.
I like people in our
I love
community to
that.
just come and, like, see what we're doing, just observe, and
I love that.
see how
Yeah.
it works because inclusion isn't I mean, the we put thought into it, but it's not hard. Like, we can do
No.
this. We can do this.
Love
Like,
that.
we
Yay, what a wonderful way to end that. Inclusion, yes. Everybody we're is on the same page there. I agree. Thank you so, so much. I really look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.